Welcome back to Let Freedom Cha-Ching. I'm your host, George Koutros, joined with the other host with the most, Alex Asta.
Alex Asta. Okay.
Hey, and thank you for joining us as we try and narrow down how to just make a little extra money along the way on your path to freedom, wherever you may be on that path. So we're gonna draw down on some stuff that we're doing right now in hopes that it helps you wherever you may be. Alex, how
Yeah,
you doing?
yeah. Doing all right, doing all right. So as reading a million, books and seeing things, we're kind of getting into that. All right, we need different multiple income streams, right? And so that's kind of all about what we're doing right now. And everything is in conjunction with each other. We've got the main primary portfolio of Airbnb properties, short-term rentals, for management, and now obviously getting started with coaching for helping others get started, which is also brings a nice joy as well, and like teaching other people.
Yeah.
But yeah, with that it's a big balancing act, and yeah, a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, no, I mean, I know you're feeling it. I'm definitely feeling it, but it's like it goes to this concept that I'm working on, which is like I don't know the name for it yet, but it's something like a symbiotic ecosystem of wealth, where it's like you start off with a skill, which we chose Airbnb, and you become a master at that skill, put in 10,000 hours. Okay. And now we're doing the step of, interviewing people and kind of learning how they do their thing. We've developed the frameworks that we teach. We iterated on that. We've helped people for free to try and iterate. And now we're in the process of, rolling it out and helping people with our coaching program and our free school community, which is the Airbnb Superhost Academy. So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot that goes into that. And like you said, yes, there's multiple revenue streams, but it's all tied up to this, the same core thing, which is our Airbnb prowess, if you will.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's okay too, right? It's like the concept of being like we're really focusing, we're the master of one thing. So everything that we're doing right now is focused on Airbnb in different avenues of that. There have been
Yeah.
times in the past where like, hey, maybe we should try doing this, maybe we should try doing that. And we've experimented with a couple different things and say, you know what, we are let's not focus 20% of our effort in five different things and then be mediocre at those things.
Yeah.
Let's really dial in the main thing here, and then from there, from Airbnbs and short-term rentals, what else can we do for revenue in that same field, but in some different things.
Yeah, no, and that's we're at that stage. We've divided our bandwidth, I think, in a nice way that's working for us right now. You're going in and growing the portfolio by dealing with these new co-host clients, and doing like taking point on onboarding them and going there and meeting with them, which is funny because it fits very nicely into our framework that we're teaching for people in our the Airbnb Superhost Academy, which is you start off with your arbitrage deal, you get one listing. You make that listing killer, you get into the top 1% of Airbnb listings in your market, and then you now have this awesome business card that is, look at me, I'm a super host with the top 1% listing. You can actually show it with the badge that you have, like, no, we are actually top 1% of the listings. And then Airbnb has this new co-host program, and they just start pushing co-hosts your way if you're a performer in the market. So it is really funny how we built out this framework and, started to roll it out, and it's almost like it was put into existence when I put pen to paper or finger to keyboard and actually filmed the course and put down the content. Like days later, it's like Airbnb, boom, co-host, 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 and now we're dealing with onboarding potentially. What is it like? How many requests have you gotten in 2 days? More than anything.
I think like five. Well, so combine, yeah, just from co-hosting, something like five or so.
Yeah. So
And some of them, and one of them has three listings,
yeah,
right? So
one that we're getting
we,
is two. So it's like I think we're going to go from like 10, potentially having over 10 listings in a
yeah,
week's
like I think
time.
yeah, something like that, like nine or ten in a span of 1 month.
Yeah.
Which we had talked, even when we first started business, we said, oh, then we really started focusing on like getting other co-hosting deals and expanding. We said, hey, it'd be great if we can get on the pace of, one or two properties a month. And sometimes that happens, and sometimes you go for a little while without any new properties. But yes, with the new co-hosting program that, the platform that Airbnb launched, yeah, they really, really want the less experienced hosts to connect with the more experienced hosts. And so that is, yeah, it's like floodgates have opened,
Yeah.
and it's, almost because we had a similar thing happen, back in
They're running the beta version of this.
yes, exactly. They ran the initial version of this back in like March, and at the same time, we got like three or four co-host inquiries in less than a week. And let's see, I think, well, we had a waste of time with one for a while, but that did turn into, I think, one or two other deals.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was a great, kind of overall win percentage. And now here they are launching the better version of that, more official version, and it's, yeah, popping off.
Yeah, and we go into this into in the Superhost Academy, but it's like the deal is other OTAs are making their mark, like via like the Airbnb market share is getting pecked by the other online travel agencies, and now with the advent of Google bookings, it's like Google is definitely going to dominate the Google search results. So when people just look up rental in whatever city, Google's going to push their platform.
I
So
think it's hard to say. I mean, I agree, but I think it's just hard to say exactly how long that could take
oh yeah,
before Airbnb, which is the industry giant right now, and
yeah,
they've always have been, people, and that's the thing, like even Airbnb is also a company like Google. It's this name brand, right?
yeah. When people
Where
think
you can use
short-term
it as a
rental,
noun or a verb.
yeah, yeah,
Exactly. Instead of saying short, and I catch myself saying it a lot, you just refer to a property as an Airbnb, like, oh, that's my Airbnb property. Well, it's technically a short-term rental property. You rent it on Airbnb. It's like picking up a box of tissues and you say, oh, this is my Kleenex. Kleenex is the brand.
yeah,
Like, oh, just Google it, just YouTube it, just search it on this platform called
yeah.
YouTube, right? So it's, yeah, but I think, yeah, it'll be very interesting to see when
Oh,
Google keeps expanding, and maybe there's a transition.
yeah, I think, like you said, it could be a while, but what that has done is it's caused Airbnb to be like, okay, how do we compete? And like, we need to make Airbnb the premier platform where when people go on there, they have like almost guaranteed to have a good stay. And that is guaranteed by taking new hosts and pairing them with, experienced hosts as a co-host. And now that co-host can elevate and, it was a rising tide lifts all ships kind of a deal. So it's
Mhm.
like that's their plan, and it's nice for us because we just happen to be the
the
super
the
host in the
time
market.
the
Timing was
timing
perfect.
was the timing was great, right?
Yeah,
For us, like plenty of people started, Airbnb 10 years ago, 8 years ago, whatever. That's great for us in our exact timing of our lives and situations. Starting this 2 years ago and doing and attacking it the way that we did is also great, because then just 2 years later, we've got this beefy portfolio of properties and great ratings and all these things, because it's been day in and day out, consistent attention to detail, customer service, hard work, growing, cleaning, and everything. It's been across the board. And that is exactly what we're teaching everyone is like, hey, you can't just get one property and be like, oh, sweet, now I'm a superhost. Yeah,
yeah,
that's great. Congrats. That's the first step. It's like, congratulations, you just started. Like
yeah,
superhost, yes, that's very important, but it's just day after day after day of customer service, and doing the right things
yep,
over and over again.
yeah. Because it's not just Superhost is relatively easy to get, but it's not just getting Superhost. It's getting
Right.
Superhost and having a listing that is phenomenal. Because those
Yeah.
two together are what makes like the secret sauce, if you will, for getting the good co-host deals. And then you got to obviously know how to create a crafty co-host profile. But yeah, I mean, dude, it's like I feel like this past week we've like achieved critical mass in that things just started to fall into place. Like it's been years, and now all of a sudden it's like you can start.
Yeah.
We've been putting the puzzle together for years. We like built the frame of the puzzle, and we're like, okay, we got the frame built, and now we've just been like putting little things together. And I think for the first time in a few years, I started to see the image, And now
Right.
it's been like clear. I was like, oh, okay, cool. I'm gonna put that there. I'm gonna take that and put it there. And it hasn't just been guessing, looking at it, and being like, where the fuck does this fucking black tile go? Again, there's 80,000 black tiles.
They're
You know
all,
what I mean?
yeah, they're all
Yeah, the
black tiles.
puzzle, and like, hey George, flip the puzzle over. There's a design on the other
Right.
side.
Yeah, exactly. What movie was that?
The accountant
Yeah,
at the
yeah,
opening
yeah.
scene is him doing the puzzle. Yeah,
He's
yeah,
like, how? He's like, oh, you forgot a piece. Oh my God, you've been doing the entire thing upside down.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I agree. It's like, yes, finally, it's like, all right. But that also does not mean that the hard work is over. It's
No,
like, nope, just
there's just
continue
clarity.
to keep the gas down. Just do what you've been doing in a bigger way, you
Yeah,
know. And now it's like, okay, you've been drinking out of the garden hose for the last 2 years, getting good, providing good value, giving people good experiences, but you've been what am I saying here? Garden hose, we've been growing, but now it's like, oh, do you want to grow more? It's like dumping fertilizer with a fire hydrant. It's like, oh,
yeah.
now you're gonna grow.
Now you're gonna grow real good. No,
Yeah.
yeah, no, that's you. Yeah, the analogy is a hard one to really dial down, but yeah, we've been inundating ourselves with knowledge and seeking guidance from other people and learning and trial and error and testing out things and like you said earlier, like we for some reason decided to take a stint in website design and social media management, and it all looked like, oh, this is gonna be making money. Now just chill out.
And
And
and funny enough, and it's so funny because had that one deal, there's a $10,000 deal, had that actually gone through, we probably would have continued,
yep,
down the road more, right?
yep,
But and you can say a lot for like, oh, okay, well, a lot of businesses fail, a lot of entrepreneurs, they fail in many, many ways before they like really hit something big. But yeah, that was a kind of a good lesson for us because it's like, all right, yep, tried a couple different things that were kind of adjacent to what we're doing. We're already building websites for our own websites. Oh, maybe we could help someone else with that. But it's like we're getting away too far away from what we're really, needing to focus on. So
yeah. No, and
gotta,
yeah, the distractions and now like refocusing that effort has been able to have us like dial down our SOPs and build out these frameworks. And really, like, I think of the frameworks that we built out to help teach, and like being forced to look inward and be like, okay, how can we best convey not like all this fluff and waste people's time, but like how do we best convey, like, do this step, then 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 this step, and then boom, you're here, you're at the top. And I'm like, okay, how do we do that? Thinking about that, developing that framework has forced us within the business to be like, okay, let's reattack how we are doing stuff, because we have SOP that we've written down that we don't follow because it's just like we're too busy. And it's like we know it's a good practice. We developed this SOP and it's worked great sometimes, but just at scale it's been hard to do that. And I think I very much look forward to, I don't know when it's going to happen. I think it might be in like a week or 2 weeks. Maybe it'll be after the wedding. But when we are done filming the course and building out the course material, and it's just like everything exists, and now we can just focus that energy on getting people to it and helping more people. Because I'm like, it is a lot, but I think our goal, and I know certainly mine was like, I'm gonna dump a ton of effort into creating this thing, because I hope it resonates as people utilize it, and it's not just like a chat GPT course. It's like, no, I've like thought through all the different stuff, we've made these videos, it's tailored, it's like taking the best of what we've learned from all different mentors and coaches, whether we've paid for them or watched them on YouTube or paid for some of their like premium content. And it's like, okay, we have something now, I'm proud of this, and I feel good pushing people to it, you know what I mean?
yeah. Yeah, exactly. I think it will, that's going to be like kind of in a similar feeling to like what we're feeling now. Like, oh, okay, all right, we've been working, finally we can see the picture of this puzzle, and with more co-hosting inquiries coming in, we're going to feel the same way, that kind of weight lifted. Yes, once all the content is done and the shell is there, and now we just need to get people to that, for the course. So that's going to be a big relief. It just so happens that, and this is kind of the part of the balancing act, we're trying to do that, and going to meetings and physically going to meetings and talking to people, editing contracts, onboarding, possibly 9, 10 units pretty much at once.
Yeah.
And, oh, I don't know, in 2.5 weeks, a little over 2 weeks. We're both going to be out of the country for for a week. I'll be going for 2 weeks or more, no, more than that. I don't know. So yeah, it's a bit of a jungle.
Yeah, and we're hacking our way through it, but it's I definitely can feel the day in day out putting into this, and I'm it's not like a bad thing. I'm just like I'm very much ready to shift to putting that effort towards driving people to the thing that will actually start making the money. But I
Right.
mean, it's working out nicely because it just yes, we've had, market success with our strategy. Yes, our I just looked today and we were like, okay, yes, this year to date, or not year to date, but the start of the year, the portfolio as a whole has made over 500K. Okay, that's good. But
For this year.
yeah, I just look at the. I'll send you the screenshot. The so I'm like, okay, that's good, and it feels good, and it looks good on paper when you say it. It's like okay, and like that in the next year we're on track to hit over 1 million. Okay, all these numbers that are like the buzzwords that get people all fired up, like 7-figure Airbnb business. But
Mhm.
it just didn't feel real to us because we still had debt that we have to pay. We have debt that we have to
Yeah.
pay off. We have people that we owe stuff to. We ourselves aren't pulling money like we want to, or just pulling enough money to like get by. So there's that like imposter syndrome. Like, yes, we're making the money. We literally are getting people to give us hundreds of thousands of dollars. But are we? I don't feel like it feels weird teaching this. Like, hey, this is the path to financial freedom. But I think like a lot of people start this process when they haven't had the success yet, and they make their money from the coaching. They like make their money teaching the thing, not doing the thing. And
Yeah.
like our philosophy, and I think what's going to give us the fire to
I
actually
think,
go out is like we make the money doing the thing, and now
and
it's a bonus.
yes, exactly. And I think that's exactly it. I think like when you said, "Oh, congrats, this year we've made over $500,000 in revenue." I'm like, okay, all right, yeah, it doesn't sure doesn't feel that way, and we're
No.
just so focused on what we're doing, focused on expanding, focused on doing things. So it's and yes, debt, business debt. So yeah, you're just I'm not I don't care about $500,000 that we've made. Like, yeah, it looks good on paper, great, and we'll need to use these certain things. Okay, in less than 3 years, we went to 7-figure business. Yeah, technically. So yeah, but yeah, going through the day in and day out for multiple years and then being able to share all these like endless, stories and experiences with people that are just getting started, it's going to be, in one sense, it'll be a lot easier to teach people because we can relate to every single experience that they will have.
Yes.
Like,
No.
oh, hey, tell me about a story when, like you got screwed over for 6 months and
I'll be
okay,
your daddy. I'll
like
be your B&B daddy, and we're gonna get sued. And we're gonna get sued. No, no, yeah, no. You're
but
right. Like,
just being able to relate to every story, every, little obstacle that people will have. It's like, okay, yeah, you're not, we've been there, done that, right?
yep.
So
The way that I see like the glide scope going is here's us. Actually, we'll do a vertical. Like here's us right here. Here's like brand new hosts. All right. We are better than them because we've been doing it for years. We know more. Okay. We can reach down and pull those people up here. Easy. Easy. But as we're doing that and they're coming up here, we just happen to be moving as well. And now we're here. And like, okay, we can just adapt the offer. In a year's time, we can take people from like now we have this 50 unit portfolio and we're doing these big level things and talking about building out teams and stuff like that. Well, now those people, they're at where we are at, and they have a business, they've replaced their income, and that's great. But now they're like, okay, well, I want to build this more. I want to get more. Okay, cool. That would boom. And it's just like, we just keep lifting. I don't know if I needed to use my hands for that, but in my mind, I needed to like visually just, yeah. But no, you know what I mean? It's like,
yeah,
we can help. I know 100% confidently we can take someone who doesn't have a unit or has one, crappy unit and get them to where they're replacing the average income in the US. Like I can confidently say right now, we can take people and replace their income with Airbnb. Okay, now the next step is like your income may be replaced, but like there's not much security, and you had a job that like concretely paid you, and you knew that you're gonna get a paycheck. To like you've managed to be scrappy and make the same amount of money, like because you're working like twice as much, 3 times as hard, and you're making the same amount, and you're like, okay, is this sustainable? It's like, okay, well, let's make it sustainable now. Let's put stuff into place where it's like, I think, and we're right at that threshold, right? We're at that threshold. We decide who we work with now. not we take what we get. Like in the like we can turn people in like I can already tell that's not going to work.
I, yeah, and actually, of the different inquiries that we've gotten and spoken to, something like six different people in the last week, there is one in particular that, it's just, hey, it's not going to work. We're just not going to make enough money for the amount of work it'll require, especially, and again, yeah, we were not always in this position and we're not turning away everyone. We still need to grow. We still need
Yeah.
to do a lot of things, but you also need to know when to fold them,
Yeah.
So,
We've learned, I think we've learned, taking on the wrong partnership in this business can hinder you drastically.
and it doesn't all, and like the big emphasis on that one is about like the person themselves, like the personality, how they handle themselves, how we work together. But it can also be, and that's, I think, crucial. You have to be able to work with someone very well, for any sort of business relationship, business partnership. But then there's also these situations like this, one of these people from this past week spoke to her on the phone, very nice, easy to talk to, but the numbers aren't going to make sense for us.
Yeah.
So it's like, sorry, it's just not really going to work. So, and so it's kind of, in my opinion, it's both pieces. I think the very first thing is, hey, is this person going to be a good person to work with? Asking them questions, vetting them, and figuring out, hey, is this going to be a massive pain in the ass? And we were able to dodge one of those bullets, but so I think, and that was our biggest lesson this year, right? Is just learning how to read people more,
Yep.
and before signing a contract and before taking over the management or creating listings and doing all these things, what are they going to be like to work with together? And they're also thinking the same thing, right? As they should,
Yeah.
because they're, where everyone is a stranger until you begin to grow together.
Yeah. No, yeah. That is the major theme. I think the major, if I were to take a theme for the year, it would be something that is probably inherent to most people out there, but to us, when you're trying to work, you're like, I'm just gonna do like action, like is your movement gets you a step closer. No, I think the theme from this year for us would be like, take some time, do a little bit more pre-work and a little more understanding of the situation, like actually look at and analyze what you're about to get into, take a pregnant pause, and then make a decision. Is this going to be good for us in the long term, or is this just a temporary solution to help us in the here and now? And I think you could
Hmm.
apply that to clients, to things in the business. A lot of mistakes that we made this year were like out of desperation and needing to make money now. So we're like,
Right.
okay, we need this, so we're gonna do it. And it's like, all right,
Yeah.
listen
And,
up.
and and then you get to a point where you're like, hey, we've already dedicated this much time and
So
work. We need to keep going. We have
yeah,
to. And next thing you know, it's like, okay, we're 1 month in. Wow, we really need to get going. What's taking so long? And then there's excuse. And then you're
yeah,
like, okay, now we're 3 months in. Like, what on earth is holding us up? And you're like, I'm not crazy. You're crazy. I'm not. Anyway,
yeah.
so yeah, it's flashbacks.
Yeah.
Um,
So I mean, I'm happy with where we're at now. Like we said, we got the majority of the puzzle put together, and what happens when that puzzle is done? We get another
find a new
puzzle. Yeah, get a new
Find another
puzzle. So yeah, we're gonna be doing a lot of puzzles, and I think the next puzzle that I'm excited to solve will be that of the coaching world. That it excites me the most, and I think we have the Airbnb puzzle, like 85% done, missing a few key things, but when it comes to strict like SGR stuff, and then maybe open the chapter on a hotel puzzle,
And
or
and yeah, and that's what I was gonna say. It's like, because you could, like, when you, just staying on this analogy of like, okay, finishing the puzzle of Airbnb, of like learning, like, you can always learn more. So like you could almost, it's almost like you could do, like, once you finish that puzzle, whatever field that is, once you think you're there, destroy the puzzle and do it again. You're probably gonna get better at that puzzle, you know?
Very, very
Uh,
accurate. Like you have to keep, yes, to say that once you build it, you're done completely is bad, because in order to like maintain your relevance and status as an expert in the field, you have to constantly be learning and shifting and adapting. And like the whole reason
yeah,
we fell into this framework, the B&B Freedom framework that we developed, is we were looking at how the platform was changing, and we were like, hey, it's so hard to scale with arbitrage when you have no money and you're living paycheck to paycheck and you're still like, you know, $20,000, $30,000 in credit card debt. Like it is impossible. Like take out more debt to pay down the debt. It doesn't make sense. So we're like,
Yeah.
how do we do it? And then we've like, oh, this co-hosting thing. Like, and yeah, we scrapped for co-host deals, and you're fighting that same battle with hosts or property owners that you want to be co-hosts with, and it's like convincing them why Airbnb is good and blah blah blah. Well, now we have this thing where people believe Airbnb is good because they're on Airbnb and they're actively looking for co-hosts. So it's like,
That's the thing, right? Like going from, and we've obviously landed several clients where we were reaching out to them, but that is just like any, cold outreach. It's a lot of volume. It's
mm,
incredibly difficult. You can do it with enough volume, but it is incredibly difficult. And now, yes, after not for nothing, multiple years of hard work, day in and day out, and finally, in conjunction with this new, platform from Airbnb, the, less experienced hosts are actually reaching out to us.
yeah,
So, yeah, finally can start
it's
to
been
see
a
that
nice
in
full
it.
circle. Yeah, I mean that's I wanted to keep it short and sweet today. And I kind of just like stopping at the, I guess, the duality of becoming a master and by never stop learning, which is like very cliche, but also cliches exist for a reason. So yes, like continue that journey to learn, refine and use it. And then for us, I talk about the puzzle thing, and I think it's moving on to a new puzzle because I think part of being a coach and like a leader in an industry and teaching people is you have to be relevant. So like yes, we have the Airbnb puzzle finished. We can break it down and build it up again faster and better. But now we are going on to this coaching puzzle, and part of that puzzle is always being on alert to make sure that we're feeding good information to the people that, or else the market will show like people will just leave bad reviews. It won't work. That thing will fail. So yeah, it all starts to feed together, and I think the skill of identifying patterns when you do a puzzle and figuring out, okay, I can start to see these colors match together, these shapes, like the pattern identification is literally translates to this world that we're in. We are identifying patterns that work for us. And it's like we've identified this co-host pattern. We've identified that developing systems, like the system development pattern of you building teams and the virtual assistants. All these things will translate to that next level, right? Whether it's that next level of leadership in the Airbnb business, aka short-term rental, or the next level in the coaching business. Like we will eventually have VAs in the coaching world to help us just organize, because it's like right now it's like if the few clients we have with coaching is relatively easy. But I can imagine that when you start having hundreds or 1,000 people in the community, it now becomes a thing where it's like someone has to answer. These people are going to be talking, and someone has to comb through the data and be like, "Hey George, hey Alex, like this person said this, like you should reply." Like prioritizing, like you should reply to this. This is vice the person that's like, "Sick, bro, thanks," or like the person like asks a genuine question. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's something that we've started to do, recently, especially like this week, and also a big reason why, like, hey, our weekly meeting today, we're because of all this recent, co-hosting traffic for new inquiries. It's like, hey, we need to shift a little bit. We can't spend time, in the weekly meeting talking about the normal things and, kumbaya, but like, nope, okay, we'll do that later. Right now, we're shifting. We need to focus on these things. And even this week, with these new inquiries coming in, it's like, no, hey, we need to convert these into paying clients. So, to the VAs, like, yep, please let it like give the initial response to those inquiries, and then we will take it from here. For
Yep.
now, you know what, we're in a critical stage of growth. And at least until they have more experience, with these very unique, inquiries, like, nope, we will take care of it for
Yep.
now.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
eventually, yeah,
It
we
all
need
adapts.
assistance with that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I'll leave with this. If you are looking at starting, and when I say you, I'm talking to you. If you're looking to start your Airbnb, please feel free to join our free Airbnb community, the Airbnb Superhost Academy. And if you join today, we will personally reach out, Alex, myself, and we can onboard with you. So just message us in the group and we will onboard you and have a call where we can talk about, your plans and what you want to do. And even if you don't have an Airbnb business and you want to discuss, creating that symbiotic ecosystem of businesses that we referenced earlier. We didn't really go deep dive into that, but reach out and we can chat on whatever field you're in and help you on your path to financial freedom. That's it, Alex. I'll leave it with that.
Yeah, sounds good. Good
All
stuff.
right.
I love the kind of makes me want to go do a puzzle now.
You know what? I'm gonna do a puzzle. I'm gonna do a
Got
puzzle.
one.
All right, man.
Sure.
Take it easy.
Yeah.
I'll see you. I'll talk to you later.
Sounds good. All right.